I'm going to go through the answers for the levels in Lesson 12 arrays and for loops in this video. On level 2, it asks you just to make a prediction of the code after reading through it. You can see on the bottom it said that var I is equal to 0, and then whenever you click this toggle button, it's going to turn on the color LED at that variable I, whatever its number is, and then it's going to add 1. And each time you click it, it will turn on the next one. So I think that it will light up the LED at that index. So if you run it, that's what is going to happen in that level. Number 3 asks you to look and see why if you kept clicking on level 2 after you went through the first 9, so 0 through 9, and got to 10 for the I, it will give you an error. And the reason it gives you an error is because there are not 11 LEDs, there are only 10. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So what you need to do, it's asking you to fix that error here. What we need to do to fix that is say if current LED is less than 10, I want this code to run, to turn on that current LED and then add to it. All it did was change the I to current LED, which is kind of confusing, but whatever. 10 is not an LED that we have. It's, again, 0 through 9. Now we're going to jump to level 6. Level 6 just asks you predict what this code is going to do, and it says for a variable I that is set to 0 while I is less than 8, increment I. And then the code that's going to run in here is console.log, so we're going to log to the console down here, I. If you write in 0 through 7, that is the correct answer. It's going to print out 0 through 7. If I run it, you will see it show up here on the bottom, 0 through 7. And level 7 is asking you to use a loop to go through use the for loop to go through an array of items. So what we're going to do in here is what we want it to do when we run this. We want these 3 buttons to turn red, and then we want them to change their size to 50. So it'll end up looking like this when we're done. So they get kind of skinny. What we need to do is pull over a set property, and we need to use a list, access list items block. We want buttons and I, so while we're at 0, we want 0, and then at 1, we want 1, and then 2. We want to set the height to 50. So if we run this, it's going to give me an error because this error keeps happening. I need to submit that to the company and let them know. Whenever I go over here, it pops whatever I had into this index. Run. There we go. Beautiful. Level 8 says in the last program we told the loop to run 3 times with the code for var I equals 0, I less than 3, I increment. This works, but we could write smarter programs by using the length of an array to decide how many times to loop. So this is going to have us looking at using the length feature. So it says change the exit condition of this loop so that it runs while I is less than buttons.length. That's this down here, the length of a list. So we're going to say, instead of putting a number here, we're going to pull this list.length and we're going to say buttons, because that's the list. We want to know how long it is. If we run it, it will turn all of them blue because it's saying 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So while it's less than 6, yes, it will run. Number 9, so in this one, we're going to try to turn, when we click thumbs up, we want all of these thumbs down to turn to the thumbs up picture. And they've provided you with the icon here to do that. So it gives you all of the comments to help you decide what to pull out. So first of all, I know that we're looking for when this button is clicked. So I'm going to pull on event, ID, we want to switch to thumbs up. So when the thumbs up button is clicked, we want to change all of these images to thumbs up instead of thumbs down. So we need a for loop. And we're going to say for var I equals 0, while I is less than the image's length. We want to use the length of this instead of putting a number in. We're going to say I++. So now what we're going to do is change the image that's at this index I. We're going to change the image to this. So I'm going to copy and paste that right here. And here it did that super fun thing where it just decides to change again. There we go. Now if I run it and click my button, did I spell that wrong? It's images, not buttons. It's going to plop them all up. So what it's doing is going through, when I click the button, it's going to say, okay, I have this variable set to 0, and I want to be checking to see if I is less than the length of this, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 long, and then it'll add to it. So we're going to start at 0, change it to thumbs up, add 1 to it, that makes the I equal to 1. Change this one to thumbs up, add 1. If it's less than 6, we're going to, and it'll keep going through all the way through to change each of them in a row. Number 10 has us using the for loop to turn the color LEDs on. So what we're going to do is start, and this is going to take a couple levels, but we're going to start an app that will control all of the colored LEDs on the board. So the first step is to wire up the buttons that turn on all the LEDs. We're going to add an event handler for button on. So we have an on button right here, and that's a user interface. So we're going to pull it, and we're going to say when button on is clicked, we're going to place a for loop in here. We want this to run until it goes all the way through the color LEDs. So we want to say less than 10 because there are there are 10 of them, 0 through 9. So once we do that, we're going to turn the color LEDs on. The one that matches this one, so it'll start at 0, and then 1, and then 2, and so on. If you run that and connect your board, you will see all the lights turn on. And then we want to turn all of the color LEDs off. So we're going to follow this exact same process, and I'm actually going to copy and paste because I like to work a little smarter. We're going to say off, and if you go into this, you can just edit it to say off instead of on, and there in 3 easy steps you have coded all of that. And you're going to want to run it again without your board. It should turn your lights off or on now. There's a video for you to watch here. I encourage you to watch that. I'm not going to play it on the screen for you. 13 is going to have you switching the colors. So we have in here options for setting all of the LEDs to specific colors. So the directions are going to ask you to create a function called set LED colors that takes the parameter color and uses it to change the color of all the LEDs. So we're going to pull this function right here and name it set LEDs color. And it needs to take a parameter, so you really should grab the second one that already has a parameter, but you can also just use the arrow to pull a parameter out. I want the parameter color. That's the information I want to know, what color. Inside of it, we're going to do a for loop. That repeats until it reaches the end of the color LEDs, which is 10. And inside of it, we're going to set the color to the current LED for this color parameter. So you're going to go here, and you're going to pull over an LED color. And we're going to say I. And the color is going to be the color variable that is pulled in from here. So it should look just like this. If you run this right now, you're actually going to get an error, but we're going to add in this next level in 14 how to add some of the colors in here. So creating for red, we're going to change, we're going to add a function right here. And name it set LEDs color. And in N, we're going to call it red. I'm going to run out of time right now in this video.